Hi, my name is Jack, and this is the story of my calendar year Triple Crown hike, a 9.5-month journey along the Appalachian, Pacific Crest, and Continental Divide trails. It takes most hikers 4 to 6 months to complete just one of these trails, but I must complete all 3 before December 31st. To put the challenge into perspective, more people have been to the moon than have completed a calendar year Triple Crown. Alright, we're back on the trail. We spent the night at a hostel in Pearisburg, Virginia. This is one of the towns that the AT crosses right through. I convinced Mars to hike out with me despite the weather, which was probably a bad idea because the high temperatures were calling for about 20 that day, and wind chills on the ridge lines, they were calling for about -10 to -15. The bridge is very icy. It's pretty windy. At this point, I've hiked 25 days in a row, averaging a marathon every single day, and I'm really enjoying the process of pushing my limits. That's the big unknown before you start, is how are you going to handle this grind day after day? And so to find that I'm up to the challenge, and not only that, but I enjoy the challenge, that was really cool, and that was what kept me out there, even though we could have just stayed in the hostel, and probably should have stayed in the hostel that day. A little bit higher now, probably around 3,500 feet. The wind up here is really cold. I can feel my core temperature is dropping. And need to put on more layers. The shelter coming up, do that at. But you really can't afford for your core temperature to drop when it's cold like this because it's really hard to bring back up. So, yeah, extra layers on, get it warmer. Shelter's over there. Get out of the wind. Covered in snow. It's brutally cold, but wow, what a view. From Rice Shelter, the trail follows a ridgeline for the next 10 miles. Ridgelines are windy and exposed, the last place you want to be during high winds and cold weather like this. The wind was so bitterly cold it caused my camera to malfunction. That's the stuttering you see in these shots. I'm wearing every layer that I have, and as long as I keep moving, I can stay out of that danger zone of hypothermia. The bulges around my stomach, those are my water bottles that I'm keeping next to my body, and I'm using body heat to keep them from freezing. Although it's so cold today with the wind, they're still freezing a little bit. Hiking in extreme cold makes everything more difficult. We couldn't stop to take any breaks during that entire 10-mile ridgeline walk, and you can see here it's almost sunset because as soon as we stop, our core temperature would drop too much and you get too cold. I have to keep my water filter next to my body because if that freezes, then it will break and it won't be effective in keeping out contaminants from my water anymore. Both factors combined means I'm not eating and drinking as much as I should, and by the end of the day here, I'm starting to get cramps in my legs. It doesn't matter how bad conditions are, things always change. We finally dropped down off of the ridgeline and felt an immediate relief from the wind. Seeing the trees covered in a blanket of fresh snow was magical. It felt like I had stepped through a portal into the world of Narnia. We made it 20 miles and it was the most grueling day so far on trail. I was very thankful to have a stove and a warm meal. Mountain House beef stew with steak that I cooked this morning. Shoes are completely frozen. So getting them on. Oh, God. Just have to really jam your feet in. After 10 minutes, I finally got one shoe on. Now let's work on this one. Who knew that putting on your shoes would be the hardest part of the day? extra ice trekking poles pick up. Jeez. Collecting snow as I go. It's pretty slow going this morning. Not quite as bad as yesterday since there weren't like deep drifts of snow, but it was still pretty slow, 2 miles an hour. Just lots of energy required to do that. A little bit better now, going downhill. No idea what kind of mileage I'll end up doing today. It definitely takes more effort to go each mile out here in the snow, but it's warming up. It's probably mid-30s now, so hopefully things start to melt off and tomorrow will be even easier. The Kefir oak. It's the biggest oak on the AT. And Mara's down there for scale. It's been pooping. This is called the Dragon's Tooth. McAfee's Knob is second only to Mount Katahdin as the most iconic place on the whole Appalachian Trail. Almost every thru hiker will have a picture of themselves standing on top of this unique outcropping. Tragically, just a few months after this video was taken, a thru hiker would fall to his death from this very spot. In 2016, I caught the sunrise here, and it is still the most spectacular sunrise that I've ever seen. Called the Tinker Cliffs. It's the last of the Triple Crown in Virginia, so it's Dragon's Tooth, McAfee Knob, and now the Tinker Cliffs. It's not boring to re-hike the same trails because things are different every time. The lighting is different, the people are different. You might be walking the same path, but it's never the same trail. Cool part of the trail. Follows the cliffs. Don't fall off. We made it just under 12 hours. It's not even 11:30 right now. This is the Bryant Ridge Shelter. Big porch. inside. There's the bottom level. Very tall roof. And then up top sleeps several more. Supposed to be able to sleep 20 in here. This is day 30. Done pretty well. Gonna be almost 800 miles by the end of today. On a climb right now, it's 5 miles, 2,500 feet straight up.